Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alex Fuse, a host of Sports Fusion, and here is a new show for you, Fuse Nation, right now. On the phone now, he is a ESPN reporter for the WWE, Mr. Brian Campbell. So, Brian, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Alex. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, no problem. Like I mentioned, you're a WWE reporter, and what a time to be a WWE fan. Kevin Owens is a new Universal Champion on Monday Night Raw, and we got over on Smackdown some confusion things going over there. They're not really sure what they're doing, like Monday Night Raw is. So first, let's start talking about Kevin Owens, the new Universal Champion. What do you think about Kevin Owens and that fatal four-way match from Monday Night Raw this past week?
You know, like a lot of people, I was pleasantly surprised that WWE was willing to go that direction with the booking. Not just the late swerve, which they really did a great job at setting up. I mean, where you didn't necessarily know it was coming, but after it happened, you look back, there were definitely some seeds planted. I mean, really good storytelling at that point. And I thought they had an opportunity because when they put the belt on Finn Balor and then he had that ill-timed shoulder injury, you know, that was them taking a step into this quote-unquote new era, putting the belt on a guy who, you know, although he's done some real good work in NXT the last couple of years, is really new to the main roster fans. And they had a chance to go back to the old guard. They had a chance to put that belt back on a Roman Reigns, back on a Seth Rollins. And I thought it was a really cool gesture to not only put it on such a unique heel in Kevin Owens, who has such almost old-school qualities to him, but to really set up a strong swerve that positively took a lot of people off guard. And this is really a continuation of everything they've been talking about with that new era. Because, you know, Kevin Owens, he long indie run, but was never really the type of guy that was, you know, looked at as being somebody who can carry a company. But kudos to the WWE for taking a chance on a guy who I think is going to shine once giving a spotlight this large.
Yeah, definitely. I have to agree with that. And like you mentioned about Kevin Owens, going forward, do you see a feud between Seth Rollins and Triple H, or do you think they're going to wait off and build up for that feud come WrestleMania 33?
Well, a lot of us, you know, this is what they're doing. By really putting the attention to detail to Raw after the brand split, giving guys more time to flesh out these rivalries, they're making some real must-see episodes. We're all looking next Monday to see the answer to that question you asked exactly. I think, personally, Rollins will have that blow-off feud with Triple H. They've been teasing that going back for more than a year. You thought that was going to happen last fall, and maybe it was. Maybe there was some good seeds planted for that until Rollins' knee injury, of course, last November. I think the money feud is Owens-Rollins, and I think it's a good shot to go right into that. I'm hoping they go in that direction because the circumstances of this last-minute swerve with Triple H coming in from the crowd and you know, quote-unquote, screwing over both Rollins and Reigns, it kind of turned Seth Rollins' face. And I thought that was real interesting because that was a move we didn't really see coming at this point. I think Seth Rollins has real, you know, a transcendent long-term potential as both a babyface and a heel. So I'm excited to see if they go in this direction, if they run him right into Owens as a face, what type of pop he'll get, how he'll be received. Because Alex, you're a big-time fan. You probably remember that May 23rd Raw episode where Rollins first came back from injury. He received a pop that was very much a babyface pop before he eventually took the mic and turned back on the crowd just to remind them of what he is as a heel. But now that he's probably going babyface, it's going to be real interesting because I think Owens and Rollins can deliver in the ring, but I think they can deliver even more on the microphone in the build-up.
And so if they go with this direction between Owens versus Rollins for the next feud, for the next pay-per-view, does that put Roman Reigns back in the U.S. title picture against Rusev?
I think it would, and I think it should, because they essentially pressed pause on that rivalry at SummerSlam with that, I guess I want to say ill-conceived come-down match where, you know, the timing of where they put that match on the card was really kind of raised a lot of eyebrows. It ended up going, of course, right before the main event. It felt out of place. They battled to that no contest and essentially a match that really wasn't a match. I think there's a lot in that rivalry, both in the ring, both two really good, tough, stiff workers. But I think that the presence of Lana really allows Roman Reigns to flex some of his comedic muscles, which really hasn't been his strongest suit up to this point. So I like seeing him in that role and in that chance, and I think it's just the nature of how the fans receive Roman right now. I know the WWE is dead on pushing Roman as a babyface, but you hear those boos that come back. I think keeping him away from the Universal title for now will only help him. It will only help the Universal Championship, and it will only help Reigns to continue to win back over fans match by match. Because as cynical as a lot of fans are, and I think they have a reason to, WWE has overly pushed Reigns. At the same time, Reigns can really work. I mean, he is a legit talent who's, unfortunately received more boos than he deserves because of the booking. I think take a little time, let him continue, maybe put the U.S. belt on him, see what he can do in that run, giving that title some more meaning and some more precedence, similar to what John Cena did when he had the U.S. Open Challenge last year. I'd like to see that for Reigns.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll switch gears now and move on to SmackDown Live. And SmackDown is still in that transition mode, trying to find the right set for this show, and they got the new tag team titles and the new SmackDown women's title. So where do you see the tag team division going forward? You got Heath Slater and Rhino, I mean, and then facing off the Headbangers, and I heard they aren't sticking around, which is good because I'm going to ask you, did it look like they were in ring shape?
No, it didn't, and they're 45 and 47-year-olds respectively, I believe. And, it was a nostalgic pop to see him come out, but if you're going to look at wrestling through a suspended level of disbelief, where did the Headbangers deserve to suddenly be in a title tournament? That was a little suspect. I mean, they're there because, maybe with the roster split, you don't have as many tag teams. So you get the nostalgic pop. If they want to do that every once in a while, I'm never against that. 2 years ago, they brought back the New Age Outlaws, even put the belt on them, and then, and they could still work at that level. It was fun for a short stretch. But, SmackDown's just interesting in general, and that tag team division for those new belts is going to be interesting because you're going to see a team get a push that they not only wouldn't have gotten before the brand extension, but you can argue maybe they don't deserve. But sometimes when you put somebody in that spot, they do surprise you. They do get over. I mean, the brand split through the years has been hit or miss for WWE, but there's been certain times, and I think JBL is a great example, where he took the baton, got a push on SmackDown that he wouldn't have gotten if it was one brand, and really ran with it. Hopefully somebody can do that on SmackDown, because I like some of the things that they've been doing to differentiate themselves. Now, I think this week's episode was a come down, was just not a good episode top to bottom, but there's certain things, specifically in the production and the way the show is presented, it is different from Raw, and I think you really need it to be different from Raw for it to have an effect and to make this post-brand split thing really work.
And one guy on SmackDown Live that I think is really transitioning into someone that we didn't realize, well, some people didn't realize, is your guy, The Miz. And I absolutely have been a Miz supporter since he won the WWE Championship back in the 2010 and 2011 years. So I've been a Miz fan, or Miz bandwagon fan. And so where do you see this Miz feud going forward? And is Dolph Ziggler the new #1 contender for that Intercontinental Championship after the beginning of SmackDown from last night?
Yeah, it very much looks that way. And while we've seen Miz and Ziggler a lot in the past, so it's maybe wouldn't have been my first choice, but one thing I am happy about is that Ziggler didn't disappear from the title picture after he received that push into that run he had with Ambrose heading into SummerSlam. Now, their match, unfortunately, at SummerSlam didn't work out that well, and you didn't really want to see Ziggler then fall back into the lower mid-card. So happy that he gets that chance, but your question is really about Miz, and right now I think it should be all about Miz because, I'm a big fan of the work he's doing. I think he's really entered a second prime. I think he's doing the best work of his whole career, even better than that first run in 2011 when he worked his way up to the title level. Of course, you always hear him say it, fighting John Cena at WrestleMania and going over at that. So he's a different performer now. He's so good in the ring with the microphone. I think he's improved his wrestling ability with that as well. And he's gotten a lot of pub for that promo he did the week before on the SmackDown Live post-show Talking Smack, where it really got heated between him and Daniel Bryan. I mean, a lot of headlines because it was a little bit shooty-ish, a little bit of a work shoot, it kind of felt like. But the best part about that was you saw Miz grab the belt, point to the camera and give an almost 1980s like pure heel promo where he put the importance of the belt over, which is always really important, and he really showed you that hunger that's inside of him to do more. I mean, that last feud he had with Apollo Crews, that was a very short one. It didn't really do much for him. It's the same thing with that very short feud he had right before that with Darren Young. Both appeared like they weren't going anywhere, sort of, cut off at one point for no reason. I'm just happy for Miz that he's back in something that's at least relevant, that means something with Ziggler. They both can work together in terms of talking. Even if we're a little worn out on seeing them in the ring together, maybe they can throw some wrinkles in there, because the Miz, man, he's really working. He's really doing well.
Yeah, definitely. And last question here before I wrap up this interview. This is from a Twitter fan that tweeted out this question, and they were wondering, what is the deal with Alberto Del Rio? There's been rumors that he is officially done with the WWE after being suspended for 30 days, and rumors there was an opt-out clause in his WWE contract. So if Alberto Del Rio is done with the company, you got to look back and see the past year of disappointment for the WWE and Alberto Del Rio in this run.
Yeah, I think it very much is a disappointment, and if we can, believe the reports and rumors that are coming out that, it wasn't just this 30-day wellness violation, but that he had given his notice before that because things just hadn't gone the way he, you read the reports the way he felt it would. I think overall, though, it's you don't know what goes on behind the scenes in the locker room unless you're there, but it feels like a misstep for the WWE because here's a guy, yes, 39 years old, but a tall, handsome Hispanic man who can really work, who can extend his brand into a different, deeper fan bases. I think he's a really strong, effective heel. I thought the last few matches he had on SmackDown before that suspension really showcased what he can do. When he had the match with Randy Orton, had one with Cena. It's disappointing to me because I felt like there was a lot more for him. I thought he came back from the earlier hiatus he had from the WWE when he was fired for that backstage incident, looking without question in the best shape of his career. He had been on the indie scene. He had been in a few different federations, and he really came back focused and ready. And I just thought that the booking that they gave him, from the Mex America angle at the very beginning that was bungled, into the League of Nations, which had some promise in the beginning, but was really just a placeholder, and the taking some mid-card guys who didn't have anything else to do, was disappointing for me. Maybe I'm just a bigger believer in his talent. You don't know for sure what's going on behind the scenes unless you hear from both sides, but it's disappointing that they weren't able to work something better out of him. I think he's still got some juice left in the tank. I'd like to see where he ends up. He's a guy with a real heritage in his family for wrestling, can go to a few different places. Let's see what happens from here.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Brian, thank you for coming on the Sports Fusion episode and talking some WWE with me, and I hope to have you on again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. Good luck
no problem. Thank you. Okay, Fuse Station, you just heard it from Brian Campbell, a WWE reporter from ESPN. This concludes Season 6 of Sports Fusion. I'll be going periscoping live from ESPN Studios in Bristol, Connecticut tomorrow. So be sure to follow me on Twitter and also on Facebook Live. I will be doing that also. Thank you, Fuse Station, for sticking with me for Season 6. I'm taking next week off and following back in 2 weeks with a brand new Season 7 of Sports Fusion. Thank you, Fuse Station. I will see you later.